Hello everyone and welcome back to ChatCraft. And today I want to tackle a more fun topic, I guess, and it's about horror movies. Not really, but that's sort of where I'm starting at. Because I used to be a fan of horror movies, but as it turns out, mostly I like older horror movies. So the point is basically that I've realized this just for myself, that many times I'm quite easy to spook, I guess. Not necessarily because I believe in magic or ghosts or any of that stuff. I don't, but there's this thing where it gets to me when I don't see what the bad guy is, basically. It's the typical thing about humans being afraid of what they don't know, basically. So what I'm trying to get at is that there used to be that sort of horror film where you didn't really see anything at any point. And on the one hand, that could be like, I guess it's not really a horror movie, it's more of a thriller, but stuff like The Silence of the Lambs. You don't have like the big, huge monster eating everyone, but it's still fairly scary the way the bad guy kills his victims, but also the way Hannibal Lecter is just brilliantly played, and he's just such a creepy guy. And it's one of those things where people differ a lot in what they find scary. When I've talked about this to people from time to time, and yeah, I kind of started that one badly. Point is, people find different stuff scary, and I usually find it a lot more scary when I don't see what's going on. And that's just something which I've realized lots of modern horror movies. They've kind of, more often than not, they make the mistake of showing the big bad monster, alien, whatever it is, after about 5 minutes. And so it's more of an action-based story where it's about the guys trying to survive the big bad monster trying to eat them, instead of I don't know, being pursued and not knowing what they're facing and such. So as an example, there's a French horror movie. If I took the literal translation, it would be called Belphegor, Phantom in the Louvre, but I'm not certain that's what it's called in English. It's basically, they have this mummy, which they found in Egypt, obviously. Well, not obviously, but it's an Egyptian mummy. And on the way getting it back from Egypt, like, everyone on the ship dies, basically. But like, you don't see any mummy walking and killing people. So it's not like that movie, The Mummy, where you just have the mummy basically walking around killing people and the scarabs eating people and such. It doesn't happen. You just, basically, everyone on board commits suicide. Or so it seems. I guess it's not really suicide if some evil curse forces them, but the point is, that's really all you see. And you've got, like, very badly lit scenes in that ship where the last surviving guy is walking around and you just sees people, and you just see how everyone's killed themselves. Kind of scary, and you don't know what's going on. I mean, for all we know, they just kind of went crazy a little bit. I mean, isolation, maybe a long journey on a ship, maybe lack of correct nutrition and such. That can do that to people. It's not totally impossible. And then, like the entire time through the movie, eventually you don't really see the mummy, but they reproduce the clothing that guy who was buried was wearing, basically, and that kind of thing with and it has a mask because they found a mask with the mummy as well, and that kind of just moves around the museum and people die. But oh, yay! There we go. But it's not so much like the mummy doesn't go around and punches people and they die or something. It's just sliding around silently through that museum, and basically it confronts people with their greatest fear, and then they die. And it takes possession of a girl and that as well. But it's beside the point. The point is, I find that movie really spooky, and anyone else I've shown it to, or rather anyone else who's watched it with me, totally doesn't get why that would be so spooky. And they aren't scared in any way. And I am well aware that mummies and such and curses, that doesn't happen and it's not true and all that. It's not like I'm legitimately thinking maybe there's ghosts out there. But I just find it really scary how that mummy is just moving about silently, and it's really creepy to me. And no one agrees, basically. Like, some people like the movie, but because they think the acting is good and it's a cool story, not because they think it's actually scary. And it's kind of similar with the which I've spoken about them before, I think. It's the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. And they are basically living statues who, when you look at them, they can't move. They don't exist when you look at them. So you can't kill them because, well, it's essentially a defense mechanism of those things. When you look at them, they stop to exist, so, well, you can't kill them because they're just stone. But the point is, you never actually see them move. Well, you do at some point, but the scary bit is the characters look at them, and then the light goes out, or something. And suddenly, when the light comes back on, the statue will have moved and changed facial expression and such. And that's kind of the point I was trying to make. It's scary to me because I don't really see what's happening. Like, I know it's just special effects. It's not the point. But those are the things that really get to me and sort of are capable of keeping me up at night. It's very similar to what I consider to be the scariest game ever, Amnesia. Like, I've played through stuff like Silent Hill, the early Resident Evil games, which were supposedly scary. I've played through Dead Space 1, which is supposedly really scary. And almost all the time it's just jump scares. So yes, if suddenly a big bad monster jumps out from around a corner and screams in my face, I'm gonna jump and maybe scream like a little girl for a moment. But it's not something that keeps me up at night, basically. Like, when I played Dead Space and it was time to go to bed, I would turn off Dead Space and go to bed, and that was it. When I was playing Amnesia, I tried to go to bed, and after about 2 hours of lying awake, I decided to just finish the game and hopefully get some sleep or pass out. Which ended up working. But the point is, in Amnesia, you don't see the zombies. At least you don't really see them, and if you see them for too long, your character goes insane, and that's game over. So, most of the time in the game, you spend just walking around, maybe hearing footsteps, maybe hearing doors slamming behind you, stuff like that, and you might see, like, shadows moving before you, but as soon as you see one, you're so scared that you want to just hide somewhere. And you don't have a weapon, so all you can do is hide and hope they don't kill you, basically. Or try to run away fast enough. And so that game was like the most scary game I ever played. Despite the fact that in terms of technology and such, you can make much better special effects these days. But they just aren't as scary to me. Which again goes back to the point, you don't see the enemy really. Most of the time, and I know like you can walk up to them and you can see them, and like they actually have like a skin and a character model, so yes, you can look at them. But especially my first playthrough, I would be too scared, because for one, my character would go insane, and for the other thing, I just heard them and saw like a shadow moving, and that was enough to get me running away and hiding in a closet. And so that's sort of the kind of thing, yes, sort of the kind of, that's the kind of thing that I find scary. It's not when the big monster comes running out and eating people. Like, I remember someone saying that they got nightmares from watching the first Jurassic Park movie. And that's something I just don't get. I mean, yes, there's the T-Rex and it's eating people and it's sort of dark and such, and there's other dinosaurs and they're also eating people. But so what? I can see the dinosaurs. It's not like they're scary. Which might be a bit unusual, but it's just sort of what I find scary. Yay, another one. Nah. And as I said, other people have completely disagreed with me on those points. So, what I would like to hear is, what do you find scary? Like, especially, have any of you played Amnesia? And which other games do you think are as bad? Or maybe even worse? Because I've heard a lot of times that, like, game XYZ is even worse than Amnesia, and to me none of them have really lived up to that promise, basically. And I kind of like spooky games, and I said I was talking about horror movies, and it's kind of the same thing there. I find it scary when I don't see what's going on, and I don't mean like because it's really dark. I mean because whatever the enemy is, it's just always out of sight and such. And what I've heard, or rather the people who I've watched horror movies with in the past, they mostly disagreed with my assessment of the movie I talked about being really scary. They said that it really wasn't that bad. And one thing they always found really scary is those Japanese horror movies, which is something I just don't get. It's always a kind of creepy looking kid staring at people because it was killed at some point. And that seems to almost always be what it boils down to. The poor kid was killed by the evil step-parent, and now it's coming out of the TV to kill people who watched the video. Which I think was The Ring. But it always seemed to be like some kind of creepy looking kid, and I don't get it. I mean, I know children are kind of scary at times because they are cruel and evil and have no morals, but I don't see how that's like scary. So when, I guess in the same way that I don't understand how people don't think the weeping angels from Doctor Who are scary, when they tell me they find The Ring scary, I just don't get it. It's just a kid. It's not like it's anything to be afraid of. And yes, I know the kid has supernatural powers and it's just a movie and such, but it doesn't work for me. I don't see how a kind of weird-looking kid that steps out of the television is so creepy that you get nightmares from it. However, on the other hand, the random mummy that you never really see that much of, and that's moving silently, and it's unkillable and such. It's just I'm not a guy to get nightmares from anything I watch. I didn't get nightmares from Amnesia, which is still the scariest thing I ever saw. So it's not like I'm not rating how scary something is based on if I got nightmares from it or such. But it's more the potential to keep me awake. The potential to make me wonder what is going on when there's a sound in the house, stuff like that. And it's not like a legitimate fear of vampires or something suddenly attacking me. Like, I'm not actually afraid of getting up and looking, for example, if I hear a strange noise or something like that. It's just a sort of general thing about it has the effect of maybe being a little spooky. So, yeah. So, what I would like to know from you is, what is it that you find scary? Do you... I don't know, do you find a certain type of movie to be scary? Or a certain type of enemy, bad guy, whatever it is? Like, I find stuff like The Silence of the Lambs, I think it's a really good movie, but it's not stuff that keeps me up at night. It's intense and it's a really good movie, but it's in a way spooky and creepy and well played, but I guess it's wrong to say that, and I kind of said that at the beginning, but it's not the kind of thing that I find scary. And again, others have disagreed with me on that. Guess I don't really like the movie because it's spooky. I just like it because it's a good movie and it's got good actors in it, acting well. So, yeah, tell me what it is you find really scary. When was the last time you decided to just keep the light on at night? If you ever did. When was the last time you decided to maybe just sleep next night and see this one through? And I guess try to make sure it's not just because it was too interesting to stop, maybe. Like when I read The Lord of the Rings first time, I've found myself still lying awake at 4 AM, but that's not because I found it scary in any way, it's because I found it interesting, so I didn't want to stop reading. So yeah, tell me what really creeps you out. Is it the random Asian kid staring blankly from a TV screen and eating you if you watch the video? Is it the big bad alien that's killing people left, right, and center just for fun? Is it the psychopath mass murderer who goes around butchering village populations just because he can? Or maybe something else entirely? Is it maybe, I don't know, Hello Kitty that really gets to you? I would like to know. And I have told you what I find scary, so I guess tell me what you find scary. What is like the worst thing you've ever seen in terms of... And I'm not talking about like real life stuff, because I'm guessing that would be a little... Like if something happened to you in real life, and I'm not talking about seeing a ghost, because if you saw a ghost, you didn't see a ghost. But stuff like, I don't know, if you've witnessed a violent crime or something like that, like that would definitely keep me up at night and make me scared, and probably in a more legitimate way actually make me scared to get up at night and see what strange noises are coming from downstairs or something. Like the fictional stuff. And as I said, I know a lot of people seem to think these Asian horror movies are really bad. So it's not a shame to admit it, I guess. But I'd just like to know what specifically my viewing several, are really scared of. And I have 37 apples, that's not bad. Oh, I also have an egg. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say at the moment. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and maybe I will hear from you about what it is that scares you. Like that. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.